Yo, what's up, everybody? It is J Shep, and I'm here. I'm here with a brand new show. A brand new show. It's called The Rundown. The Rundown with J Shep. Now, let me tell you a little bit about The Rundown. If any of you all know me, you know I'm a guy with a lot of thoughts. Some of you all may not know me, so welcome. I want to introduce myself to you. My name is J Shep, Jason Shepherd, but they call me J Shep. Some people call me Pastor J. And I'm a guy with a whole lot of thoughts. Some would say a lot of opinions. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of perspectives. And what I like to do on this show is give a rundown of my thoughts. There are a lot of things that happen throughout the week, a lot of things that are just happening in the world around us. And I feel like I just want to run it down for y'all and give my thoughts, and I want to hear what you all have to say, all right? So this is going to be a show where we build community, we stay positive. I love to laugh a lot. I love to encourage people. I love to pray for people. Not only am I a person who loves to encourage people, I'm also a pastor. So I'm going to give a perspective as a pastor. I'm a dad, father of two, and I'm a husband. Been married for 19 years to my beautiful wife. So I believe that experience is an amazing teacher. It's not the only teacher, but it's an amazing teacher. So I want to start here with the rundown. Are you guys ready for this first show? Give me a round of applause if you're ready. If you're ready for this first show, we're going to kick it off with the rundown with J Shep. So I want to start off with a little bit of a humble brag because this past, and shout out to everybody who's watching right now. If you're watching, what up? Whether you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook, what up? So I got a little bit of a humble brag I want to start off with. So last week I was minding my business, and I was on IG scrolling as I normally do, and I seen this picture of Yolanda Adams, and she was on tour with the reunion tour with Kurt Franklin, Clark Sisters, Marvin Sapp, and Fred Hammond. They're all out on tour. Can't wait to go see that tour when it comes here to LA. I went last year. Tour was phenomenal. We didn't get a chance to see the Clark Sisters because they weren't on that leg. So hopefully when we go this year, they'll be on this particular leg. So I saw this picture of Yolanda Adams, and I was like, man, Yolanda, look amazing. So I commented on the post. Let me give you a little bit of backstory, okay, of how I met Yolanda Adams for the first time. And I'm a huge fan. Like, I've been rocking with Yolanda Adams, like many of you all, if you are gospel music lovers, you've been rocking with Yolanda Adams since My Liberty days. But I really became a fan on her Through the Storm album that was produced by Ben Tankard. That was some 30 years ago. And so Yolanda has long been my favorite female gospel artist for a long time. And when we moved to Houston, my family and I moved to Houston in 2010. Our kids were small. In fact, my daughter was 2 and my son hadn't been born yet. So we had one child and one on the way when we moved to Houston. I started working at a church called Holman Street Baptist Church when I first moved to Houston. That was my first job when I moved to Houston. And probably about the second month that I was there, they had some kind of Sunday where they had like special guests. I forgot what the particular Sunday was. And the special guest, though, was Brian Courtney Wilson. Now, during this time, it was like 2010. Yeah, it was 2010. Brian Courtney Wilson had like the #1 song in gospel radio, All I Need. And I was like, wow, I just moved to Houston. I'm meeting Brian Courtney Wilson. It was super, super cool. If anybody's ever met Brian Courtney Wilson, super laid back, chill dude, cool dude to talk to, cool dude to be around. So I met Brian and his wife, Stacy, son Joshua. Joshua is killing it. And Joshua at the time was probably about fifth grade, fourth grade. Like he was really young. And but I still remember it was his wife Stacy that was super cool. That I was conversing with, and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I just moved to Houston. I have I have one child and one on the way, and we were looking for schools. And she said, okay. And I also told her I was an artist. She's like, oh, that's cool. My son goes to a school called the Imani School in Houston, Texas. And she was like, we're having this harvest festival, and I want you to come and perform at the harvest festival. Now, mind you, it was sight unseen. She just had my CD. I gave her my CD, and she was like, cool, we need somebody to perform. And it was an opportunity. It was an open door. So she gave me an opportunity to come perform at the Harvest Fest, which is dope because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just don't open doors for you when you just meet them, let alone people who have a name and, people who, have a name and a reputation. So shout out to Brian Courtney Wilson and his wife, Stacy, for that opportunity. So I went to the Imani School. And when I went to the school, what struck me was, first of all, it was an all black school, all black Christian school, which I had never seen, but they were the level of class, the level of just love and community at that school, I had never seen before. I had never seen an all black school like that before. And I went back home and told my wife after I performed, she was like, well, how was the performance? I said, it was great. I said, but better than that. I said, I think I found a school that I want our kids to go to. So long story short, we end up going to, and I'm going to get to Yolanda Adams, y'all. I'm going to get to how I met Yolanda Adams. So long story short, we enrolled our kids at the Imani School. And wonderful experience at the school. So in 2013, I get the opportunity to become the chaplain at this school, at the Imani School. Now, little did I know that not only did Brian Courtney Wilson and his wife send their child to the school, Yolanda Adams was sending her daughter to this same school. I had no clue. I had no idea. And so I started doing chapel. I started to be the chaplain at the school, and I would do chapel twice a week, and it was lit. Like I had so much fun with the kids. It was funny. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just let my instincts kick in, and God just opened up a door for that. And over the course of time, I realized that, oh, Yolanda Adams' daughter goes here. And it was funny because, I hadn't met her yet. But one day I was going to the Galleria Mall in Houston, and I go through Neiman Marcus. That's the first store that I'm going through. And who do I see in Neiman Marcus but Yolanda Adams looking at some jewelry? And so I'm like, it's Yolanda Adams. I'm going to go speak and introduce myself to her. So I go to her and say, excuse me, Miss Yolanda Adams, I'm a huge fan, blah, blah, blah. She was real cool, real sweet. And I thought about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I need to mention the Imani School. I said, oh, by the way, I said, I'm the chaplain at the Imani School. So she went from being cordial to her face lighting up. She was like, you're J Shep. And I was like, yeah. She said, you're the one. I've been hearing about you. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And so that was my introduction to Yolanda Adams. That was my first time meeting her. Now, I haven't had conversations with her. We haven't had meeting. We haven't had lunch. I haven't written any songs for her. But this past week, I noticed she dropped this photo on IG, and I just commented on the photo. I was like, the GOAT. Put praying hands and a heart. So I'm going to show you. She replied back. She said, miss you, Shep. Y'all see, listen, y'all can't tell me nothing. This is how I'm going to start off the rundown. Y'all can't tell me nothing because Yolanda Adams gave me a shout out. I'm just saying, Yolanda Adams, riding through the storm, Yolanda Adams. Be blessed, Yolanda Adams. The battle's not yours, Yolanda Adams. The good shepherd, Yolanda Adams. I got the victory. I got the sweet, sweet victory in Jesus, Yolanda Adams. Gave me a shout out. Gave me a shout out. So that's how I want to start this show. Yolanda Adams gave me a shout out, and y'all can't tell me nothing. That made my whole day. See, it's not every day that a GOAT shouts you out. It's not every day. So I'm going to cherish this moment. I told my wife, I said, listen, today I'm floating on cloud nine. I could have been having the worst day, but I saw this pop up. Yolanda Adams said, miss you, Shep. I said, oh my goodness. There's no way in the world Yolanda Adams could miss me. What? She commented on my little post, my little comment to give me a shout out. So I want to say thank you, Yolanda Adams. I don't know if you'll ever see this. I don't know if you'll ever come across this ever, but salute to you. I also want to salute Yolanda Adams as well because she just released a new project. She just released a brand new project, and the name of it is slipping my mind. What is the name of her new album? Sunny Days. I believe it's called Sunny Days. So that new album, Yolanda Adams' new album, is fire. I think it's been 13 years since she put out a new project. It's fire. I've listened to it about 2 or 3 times from beginning to end. It's fire. She's got Sir the Baptist on there, Donald Lawrence. I believe Rodney East is on there doing some production. Shout out to all those amazing producers and songwriters on that album. But most of all, shout out to Yolanda Adams for still killing it. And it's something how these timeless artists are able to still record and put out music and still be at the top and still show us why they were the greatest to begin with. So shout out to you, Yolanda Adams. All right. So I want to move on and see here on the rundown. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff. So I started off light. I started off with something real light, but now I'm about to transition into something not as light. It's a topic that many people have talked about over the past month. And no, actually, I believe this happened about 3 months ago. So for those who follow things in church culture, there was something that happened also in Houston, Texas, with another person that I know that I'm very, very familiar with, actually more familiar with than Yolanda Adams, Pastor Keion Henderson. And I got a Pastor Keion Henderson story too. I do, and I'm going to tell it. So I met Pastor Keion Henderson about 5 or 6 months after I moved to Houston. First church that I played at, worked at, didn't quite work out. And I moved on from that situation. And I met the incomparable songwriter V. Michael McKay, one of the greatest songwriters in gospel music history. I happened to meet V. Michael McKay just out the blue. And V. Mike, cool, one of the coolest guys ever. So I meet V. Michael McKay, and he's like, I've never met you. Where are you from? I told him. And he was like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing here in the city? Like, where are you working? I told him where I was. And he said, oh, you got to get out of there. It's the first thing he tells me. We got to get you out of there. Now, he had never heard me play. He had never heard me teach. But I told him where I was working. He said, "You got to get out of there." So he said, "I got a friend. I got somebody I want to introduce you to." So I met up with V Mike, and actually I went to his house, and that's where I met Keion Henderson. So I met Keion Henderson through V Michael McKay, and it was a cool meeting. So we talked and we chopped it up. And at that time, his church was about a couple years old, maybe 2 years old. Had about 1,500 members, maybe 2,000. It was growing. It was new, but it was growing. And they were meeting at a school out on the north side in Houston, just outside of Humble. And so that meeting went well and ended up hiring me. I became the minister of music at Lighthouse Church in January 2011. And it was cool. First few months were really cool. It was like honeymoon phase. Then right around month 6 or 7, that honeymoon phase was over. And I'll just put it this way. Because ain't nothing real crazy. Because I'll get to the craziest part of the story later. Sometimes you can be in a working situation and the vibe just ain't right. So I can look back on the situation and say, it was never meant to work out. He wanted something different, and I wasn't willing to be what he wanted as a minister of music. I wasn't willing. And I can admit that. Now, I'm gonna tell you the most messed up part of the whole situation. I'm gonna tell you. Now, Keion Henderson fired me. I'm being real. Keion Henderson fired me on a Sunday after church, the weekend of Thanksgiving in 2011. True story. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty of this. He'd asked me to write a theme song for their church. And I actually did. But he wanted it rewritten. And I just didn't put it on top of mind. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit backstory on this. Because this is the first time I really realized of church really being a business. And I didn't really know. I didn't really understand to the degree that I know now. Because had I known then what I knew now, I would have played the game a little bit differently. It just would have been different. This whole time, I didn't realize he was angling to try to get out of the contract that I was in with him. So he found a way to make the song a bigger deal than what it was. And he angled a way to get rid of me, to bring in another artist that I'm not going to name, to bring in another artist that he ended up hiring, but they only ended up staying a couple months. So for a while, it took me a while to get over the fact of how he actually fired me. He fired me over the phone. He called me on a Sunday. Church was over. I went to church that day. Went to church that day, did my job, directed the choir, had the praise team ready, had the band ready, did my job. Get home. I had family in town, the whole nine. I actually remember this because I made gumbo that day. It's so random. I was making gumbo that day after church. And I get home and I get this phone call and I look at my phone because I'm like, he don't call me on a Sunday. I'm like, either something is really wrong or something is really cool. I'm like, it's either really, really good news or really, really bad news. So I pick up the phone And he asked me how I was doing. I was like, I'm good. The next thing he asked was, where's the song? I said, and I really didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, what song? He said, you haven't given me the song yet. And I said, well, I don't have a revision to it. Then he just went in. And then next thing I know, he was yelling and he told me, don't come back. I said, don't come back. He said, yeah, you're fired. Fired? Me? I'm fired? You firing me? I'm like, yo, whoa. You fire me? Over a song? Wait. What? I was so thrown, right? I was so thrown because I'd never been fired before and never been fired since. I've always left jobs on my own terms or something that's mutual. And had we had a conversation down the line, it would have been mutual. But how he fired me definitely left a sour taste in my mouth. And it took me a minute to actually get over that and forgive. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Took my wife way longer. She probably still like, nah. Because actually I ran into him after that and it was cool. It was love. Like, size, whatever. Because I'm the type of person that's like, I'll get over it. It is what it is. I don't have to see you anymore. I don't have to deal with you anymore. It's all good. But in that moment, it stung. It was terrible. It was the worst thing ever. So it's one of those stories that I actually kind of blocked out my head. I kind of blocked it out my head. It was like, yo, whoa. So I have to tell that story to kind of set up what happened with the Hush video, because I have a different perspective of how I see what happened with the Hush video when he told a woman to hush. Because I'm looking at it as, oh, I know this guy. I know this guy that's telling her to hush. I know this guy. And this is actually wild. So when the whole world converged on him to be like, nah, bro, that ain't it. But leading up to that, it was, man, this guy, people sharing the clips and people in love, like, oh man, this guy, he's speaking to me. He's blah, 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 blah. I was already like, cool. I ain't gonna say nothing. But then this happened. I'm like, oh, so now y'all actually see something that I saw for years. No shade, but dude threw me the worst shade ever. The worst shade ever that could have been thrown. He threw me the worst shade that could have been ever. So him letting me go, and I'm sorry, I can't see any comments if anyone's leaving any comments. But him firing me the way that he did, him being, I would say, egotistical, him having his own way of how he felt like he had to run his church or do his business, that definitely stung. And it stuck with me for a minute. And me as a man, I had to realize when you're not the one in control, somebody is always able to almost sun you in a way. And when that person is in a power seat, they can always use that power against you at any given time. At any given time, the power can and will be used against you. Absolutely. So a couple months ago, a lady gets up in church at Lighthouse Church during a time of exhortation and worship and begins to scream. And what I know, what I know about Keion Henderson personally, that threw him off. And maybe it's been happening. Like, so he went on Tamron Hall. He went on this whole thing like, oh, it's been happening for months. Oh, it's da. Oh, it's just been. It just he couldn't lock in. He couldn't lock in. So he snaps his finger and tells this woman to hush. I sat back and was like, yo, this is very interesting. Let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this all plays out. Now, the other stuff that's happened since the hush with the storm and the things happening at the church, that's unfortunate. I'm not one of those people that say, oh, that's karma. Oh, I ain't into that. Because I don't wish a storm to hit anybody. I don't wish anybody to have damage. And so all the best to that. But how things have played out since then has been very interesting. So I really want to give some commentary on what I saw here with the apology video when he said to the woman that told him hush. So I'm going to play this video. It's courtesy of Larry Reed Live.
The lady with the scarf. Come here. Yes. Come here. Natalie, give me a hug. For those who don't know, this is the lady where we had the viral moment about the hush situation. I had no, look at me. I had no idea that my actions would cause you that much pain. And I want to say in front of this body that I am so sorry for the trouble that my actions caused. Bless you. I'm so sorry. All right. Let's leave this place.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. And I see some of y'all comments here. I see a couple comments, and I'm sorry I hadn't been able to respond to them. I see you. Dencavius, you said when that happened, I knew then 2024 is another chapter in the book of Enoch. So there's a few things that I got out of that video. Number one, he called her the woman with the scarf. Now, I'm going to give perspective on this. Because I saw people lighten up the comments when he did this and said, you a pastor and you don't know the name of the people that go to your own church. I'm a pastor. I am a pastor. And I know the name. I don't have a large congregation. But I guarantee you he knows the name of the woman with the scarf. Guarantee you he knows her name. Guaranteed. There's a reason why he didn't say her name, and I think it's wise. It's wise of him to not utter her name out loud like that because it was in a negative connotation and how it happened in the first place. And he doesn't want to put her name out there in that way for it to continue to circulate. So I get it. He absolutely knows her name. I'm giving y'all some perspective. He knows her name. But it's funny that he called her the woman with the scarf because she came up there and she sure had a scarf on. Now, so many elements to this because I got to go back and watch this about 10, 15 more times. You watch the people in the audience, watch the people that are around. They're like, oh, Lord, what's finna happen? It's finna get viral. It's another viral moment that happened at the church a few months ago. It was an older lady on stage, and Pastor Keion and his wife was on stage, and his wife, Shawnee, asked the older lady, how do you keep your husband? And she whispered, came over there, you need to say that. I'm not going to say what she said out loud. But it went out there into all the viral waves and all that stuff. And so they've been on this wave all year. Viral. So I'm seeing the looks on the faces of the people in the crowd. And they're like, here we go again, y'all. Like, here we go again. And he did apologize. So I don't want to say that the apology was disingenuous. But I do want to say the apology was necessary. Whether he's sincere or not, none of my business. I'm not here to judge that. I'm really not. It's for the person who. So I think what happens a lot in culture is we see things happen and we react to it. And so even though I have thoughts about it, I don't necessarily have that much of a reaction as much as I was kind of triggered by my own experience that I've had with the same person. Now my wife is probably like, oh my gosh, babe, why are you doing this? Oh, why are you talking? No, because I'm talking about this because it's a real thing that happened. I'm not here to say anything negative. I'm here to give my experience of what happened. So when I see Pastor Keion apologizing to the lady and how he looked her in the face and he said, look at me. I see him doing his best to try to be relevant to culture. Because if there's anything that he wants to be, more than anything, is relevant. So people probably still cooking him over that, and it's probably burning him up. He went on a media tour to actually condone what he did in the pulpit. He went on Tamron Hall the next day or 2 days after that to talk about it. So that's the thing. You got access to get to Tamron Hall to defend yourself. But the lady in the scarf didn't. So that was him trying to be as humble as he possibly could. But it's hard to be humble when you got a man with a handkerchief wiping your bald head off. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know if you caught that in the video. There was a man behind him wiping the sweat off his bald head. It's hard to look humble. It's hard to look like you have a whole lot of humility when you got a whole bunch of people around you and you the king. It's going to be hard. So I get it. I get why the apology was public, because the viral moment was public. But actually, it may have been better for this to be a private apology and then come public because the funniest thing is she screamed again. It was like she was caught off guard and screamed. He hugging her, she's screaming, and then it's like, whoa! And he was just like, that's why I told you to hush in the first place. Now I want you to hush. I'm trying to apologize to you. Had she been prepared, she would have been on stage and you would have let her have her say. You know what, Sister Scarf? We want you to speak. Even if the publicist has to write something, we want you to speak. You're going to sit with us and you say what you got to say, and we can kind of like clean it up. And you come on camera with us, and it's not this big production in front of the church, so you can look like the hero. You can't look humble with 5,000 people crowding around you. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't. And somebody wiping the sweat off the back of your neck. You cannot look humble. These are my thoughts. I'm J Shep. It's The Rundown. Thank you guys for joining me on today. This is a brand new show, brand new format, brand new thoughts and opinions that I'm giving on a myriad of topics. And I'm glad you all are here. We want to build this community one person at a time. So as I do these shows, feel free to share this. Share this right now. Share this with somebody who may want to see this. Maybe like, man, this dude crazy. Listen to what he said. Listen to what he talk about. Share this. Share this with one person right now. If you're watching this right now, share this. Let's make the numbers get bigger. Let's move off that subject because I want to talk about the next subject because we're going to go into a couple sports topics, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. But this is not really about sports. This is about people who talk about sports and the other stuff around it. And not only has Keion Henderson been in the media all year, but Shannon Sharpe has just been all over the place since January. And he's really been feeling himself, since the Cat Williams interview. It's been the Cat Williams interview. It's been the Kurt Franklin interview. It's been the Monique interview. He came out the limo wearing the green jogging suit with the orange purse. And he's been doing a lot. Shannon Sharpe been doing a lot. Skip. Stephen A, skip. Ocho, it's nightcap. It's Shannon, skip. Let me tell you why. I'm done with Shannon Sharpe. I'm done. It's not that I won't watch him. It's not that I don't watch the interviews. Club Shay Shay is cool, but I'm done with the Shannon Sharpe hype. And I was done last year when he left Skip Bayless because I saw where this train was going. I was like, oh, Shannon about to use every bit of the leverage that he got, which is cool. But he gonna use every bit of this leverage and he's gonna basically kind of cry about his situation with Skip Bayless. And he's gonna get the people on his side because the people love Shannon. And he's gonna leave and he gonna run it up. Salute. He did that. Salute to you, black man. Great job. But a couple weeks ago, I was watching a Club Shay Shay interview with Marlon Wayans, which is an outstanding interview. If you have not seen that interview, please go check it out. Marlon Wayans, one of the hardest working people in Hollywood and comedy. I appreciate the work that Marlon Wayans has put in. But I'm watching the Club Shay Shay interview with Marlon Wayans. And in the middle of the interview, it cuts to a spot read. You know, so once the show gets big enough, once this show gets big enough, I'm gonna be doing spot reads for whoever. That's my belief. So Shannon doing spot reads. So I'm listening, and I'm hearing him do a spot read for something called Rose Sparks ED medication. Now, when I heard the ad, I was in the gym. I'm working out. I'm listening to the podcast as I'm working out, and I'm hearing him. When the moment's right, you need to see what I do. I take that thing, I put it right up under my tongue, and I get to go. I do my thing. I may be 50 plus, but I go for hours. It helps you to get moment when the time is right. And I'm like, ugh. Don't nobody want to hear Shannon Sharpe talk about his ED? What? I don't want to know you in that way. I told my homie last week, I said, bruh, I'm watching this Shannon Sharpe interview, and out of nowhere, he started doing an ED ad. So we start laughing about it. And next thing I know, the whole thing blows up with him allegedly having an encounter. What's going on, Jermaine? Appreciate you, sir. With him allegedly having an encounter with, oh, that's my Michelle. That's my, Michelle. Michelle. I don't know. He claims, well, so his people put out that his phone was put on Instagram Live, and somebody hacked his phone and made it sound like people was having relations. Then he comes out a couple hours later and said, no, one thing I always said, one thing my grandmama always said, a liar equals somebody who don't tell the truth. And what I can't be is somebody who equals a liar. Because what's going to happen is, if you add up a liar, you're going to subtract your paycheck. That's basically what he said. So he admits that it was him. But it was crazy because the ad for the show Nightcap, which is the show he has with Ocho Cinco, first of all, he needs to change the show from Nightcap to Nightclap. Nightclap should be the name of the show. The ad has him, it has him like on a man, I wish I would have posted this picture here. I might have it somewhere. In my, I'll have to find it. Oh, you know what? It's in my photos, because I took a screenshot of it. There it is. Let's see if I can. I'm going to put this here. There we go. And I'm going to upload this. I want y'all to see this picture. All right. Now, look at the corner of your screen. This is how we know it was a setup. Look at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You see a package of Rose Sparks ripped open, sitting there. Nightcap, Unc tells all. I told my homie a few days before. I said, man, why is Shannon Sharpe on Club Shay Shay doing reads for ED medication? Don't nobody need to know you got ED, bruh. We don't care. When the time is right, you slip that thing under your tongue, and boop, you get ready for action. Boy, I tell you, boy, everything gets ready. And boy, woo, So I thought, man, let me get this off the screen, man. I can't hardly look at this. When when Cat Williams, when Cat went, Latoya, so lame, right? You said trashy behavior. Trashy behavior. When Cat Williams was on the show and he was making fun of, allegedly making fun of Steve Harvey. He actually was not making fun of Steve Harvey. Follow what I'm saying. You got this country bumpkin up here coming up talking about OBKB. Steve Harvey ain't never been a country bumpkin. He from Cleveland. Shannon Sharpe was the country bumpkin he was talking about. And Shannon Sharpe didn't realize Cat Williams was talking about him in his face. So here we go. This man literally put out his own version of a sex tape. His own bruh. We not trying to know you like that, dog. Nobody is trying to know you like that, dog. And it's the black man mandingo type vibe that Shannon Sharpe is trying to give. Like, I'm gonna use every part. See, if the Kardashians can do it, I can do it. See, they use their body, I'm gonna use my body. They use their body to be a billionaire, I'm about to do the same thing. I guarantee you that's how you look at it. See, they didn't. I ain't show nothing. I ain't show nothing. I'm gonna just let people use their mind and be inquisitive. And what we gonna do? We gonna sell these roast sparks. I'm gonna get a cut on the back end, and then people gonna stop thinking I'm gay. Ocho, they ain't gonna say nothing about me. What Cat Williams say? Well, boy, you ain't gay tonight. Bruh. What people would do for $1. Bro, you already the guy. You already got money. And here you are going to the lowest form of behavior by essentially dropping a live sex tape, bro. I can't get with that, G. Ugh. It's deplorable. It's deplorable. It's one thing if it's like somebody snuck something and you didn't know. But it's obvious because you got the promos ready. The promo was ready instantaneously. And the sales went up. So some people say, hey man, that's a marketing genius. That's a you know what? It's marketing. But everybody knows that sex sells. Everybody knows that. But bro, what we doing here? So what you trying to do? What's the next move? What's the next move, bruh? You trying to be the next Oprah. Now, last I checked, Oprah ain't never dropped no sex tape with her and Stedman because she don't nobody want to know her like that. And we don't want to know you like that, Shannon. Your fans don't want to know you like that, my guy. That's right, G. Unnecessary. Barry Dixon, see, Barry. See, you got your last name. See, I'm gonna have to say pause on your last name, Barry, because see, that's what I told her. I told her your last name. Y'all didn't know I got jokes. Barry, your last name is what she said. Bruh. So Shannon, I'm gonna get off that part of the subject of Shannon Sharpe. I saw this other thing that happened with him and Ocho Cinco because now Shannon and Ocho got into it. Now, what I love Ocho. I absolutely love Ocho. He got some warts. Ocho got some warts. He ain't perfect, but Ocho will let you know, Brian perfect. He's authentic. Shannon Sharpe trying to act like Ocho needs him. Ocho Cinco ain't never needed Shannon Sharpe. He ain't never needed Shannon Sharpe. Ocho is who he is. Like him, love him, hate him, whatever. Ocho is who he is. So early last week, before the whole scandal happened, Shannon Sharpe called himself getting on Ocho, calling Ocho unprofessional because he was late for this show because the car had a flat tire or something happened. And he basically did to Ocho what Skip Bayless did to Shannon Sharpe. So I said, oh, bruh, your days is numbered, G. Because now this the first time you ever been in charge of anything. I listened to Marcellus Wiley, who I absolutely respect. Marcellus Wiley, dope guy. I don't agree with everything Marcellus says, but why should we agree with everything somebody says? But his take on Shannon Sharpe, I'm actually stealing his take. And I absolutely love this. He said, if you think about it, Shannon Sharpe has always had to play second fiddle everywhere he's gone. So follow what I'm saying. In his career, he played with the Broncos. He was second fiddle to John Elway. John Elway was the man. And I love this shirt, y'all, by the way. The GOAT. I love this shirt. We're going to have a conversation on the GOAT in a later episode. But he had to play second fiddle to John Elway. He was not the big dog in Denver. He won rings, but the pecking order was John Elway, Terrell Davis, Ocho Cinco. In fact, also the coach. And also when he played in Baltimore. He was not the big dog in Baltimore. It was Ray Lewis. It was Ray Lewis's team. Shannon Sharpe has always had to be second. Skip Bayless was the big dog. Shannon had to play second. Stephen A. Smith brought him aboard. Shannon's had to play second. Now on his show, Club Shay Shay, he don't really play second, but the show is not about him. He's interviewing people. Nightcap is a show now where he's the guy. So he gets to tell Ocho Cinco what to do, where to be, how to be. See, Ocho, I'm trying to help you. See, I'm in these meetings with these executives, and if they want a time slot, do they know you gonna be there? Do you, bruh? And Ocho said, hey, man, hey, we good. I'm good. I posted the other day, it's time for Ocho to leave. Ocho Cinco don't need Shannon Sharpe. Ocho Cinco don't need him. The man was already doing what he was doing before Shannon Sharpe. Now, if Shannon Sharpe is gonna act right, they can work well together. The show is entertaining. But now that Shannon Sharpe is out here releasing sex tapes, now Ocho Cinco getting his jokes off. He like, okay, so now I'm the one that's unprofessional. Okay, cool, got it. It's time for Ocho to go. It's time for him to go. Do your own thing, bro. You don't need Shannon Sharpe. You really don't. Last but not least, and thank y'all for watching the Rundown with J Shep. Please share this. Please share this. Please share this. I'm giving my rundown, giving my thoughts on things that are on my mind. So, NFL weeks 1 and 2. It's already a lot of storylines. So I'm going to start with my team, the Chicago Bears. We're 1-1, and you would have thought that the Bears are 0-2 the way that they've played offensively and the way that some of our fans are reacting and how polarizing our new quarterback is. So first, couple things I want to address. couple things I want to address. Because football is this overly bravado, macho sport, a lot of men want to go to the point of, hey, yeah, man, the man Caleb Williams painted his fingernails, and I don't want nobody quarterback on my team to paint their fingernails. Now, if Caleb Williams wanted to paint my fingernails, I'd have way more of a problem. But if he wants to paint his own fingernails, I don't care. I do not care. It does not matter. It's never mattered. Y'all like Dennis Rodman, right? Ain't nobody been wilder ever than Dennis Rodman. They said the man, Shaq told a story about Dennis Rodman. He said, man, ain't no lie. Dennis Rodman, he went to a game. He played about 15 minutes. Game was over. He didn't even shower. He smelled like, you know what? Went to the club, got every girl in the club. I was so mad. Uh-oh. Somebody trying to call my phone while I'm on live. Stop calling me. So he tells a story about Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman was a guy that was unapologetic. He did his thing. He painted his nails. He dyed his hair. He had tattoos. The man wore a wedding dress and married himself. The man was on his book cover naked. Come on, y'all. And y'all tripping on Caleb Williams for painting his fingernails. He's an eccentric, quirky kid. Who cares if he paints his fingernails? Who cares? Guys got braids. Who cares? Guys have earrings. Who cares? Is he trying to paint your fingernails? Is he trying to braid your hair? Let's start there. I want to start there with the average macho guy because they want to see themselves in the quarterback. Let me tell you something, man. You're never going to see yourself in any of these guys because you're not them. They're better than you at what they do. They may not be better than you at life, but they're better than you at football, and you'll never be them. So leave the guy alone that paints his fingernails and wears brings the Hermes bag to the game, the Birkin bag, and the Van Cleef, whatever he's got. My wife seen him and was like, what kind of necklace is that? I would wear that. And I was like, yo, you wild. That's crazy. But I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to tell you what I care about. I'm a Bears fan. And I care that every single quarterback that has played for the Bears has sucked. That's what I care about. Every Bears quarterback. Cade McNown sucked. Shane Matthews sucked. Kyle Orton sucked. Steve Walsh sucked. Mike Tomczak sucked. Jim Harbaugh sucked. Eric Kramer, may you rest in peace, sucked. Jim Miller. I'm going to keep going down the line. And yeah, I know I was not a Justin Fields fan. I was not a Justin Fields fan. I didn't dislike Justin Fields. But after last year, I was like, bro, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not. And he's in the best situation that he could possibly be in now. He's on Pittsburgh. They're 2-0, and he's playing like a good game managing quarterback. That's what he's doing. Congratulations to Justin Fields for managing the games and winning the games that you are supposed to win in the NFL. Not putting your team in position and making horrible mistakes. Congratulations. Now, I want to stay here with the Bears as to why many people still hate on Caleb Williams, and it's that Justin Fields factor. You feel Justin Fields didn't get his proper respect. They didn't keep him. They didn't build around him. It may be true. But I got my own thoughts on what's wrong with the Bears. Because there's a scene in Friday where Smokey goes into the house and he's asking Craig what they got to eat. And he said, man, y'all ain't never got two things that go together. You got peanut butter and no jelly. Ham, no burger. Anybody been there before? Cereal, no milk. So the Bears are the type of team and organization that does not appear to know how to get every single element together to make sure the perfect storm happens. I absolutely believe Ryan Poles is a very good general manager. He's not great. He's good. Pulled off some great trades. Let me tell you what Ryan Poles has not done well. Number one, he did not pick the right head coach for this team, and it's been painfully obvious. You want to talk about the Justin Fields situation? He didn't pick Justin Fields, which is one of the reasons why he got rid of Justin Fields. He picked this head coach. And the minute he picked this head coach, I said, it's not going to work. But it's typical Bears. It's typical. Kind of a corny, goofy, lame, doofus, okey doke looking guy. Seems like a nice guy. But Matt Eberflus resembles George McCaskey. Anybody ever seen George McCaskey? He likes to hire guys that are like him. Oh, George, hunky-dory. I still go out and I ref baseball games on the weekends. And I drive my Toyota Corolla. Matt Eberflus looks like the guy that still will go out and try to ref a soccer game, even though he's a coach of a professional football team. The Chicago Bears organization does not want to hire a coach with a high level of IQ and personality, because that means you're going to upstage the entire mode and brand of the team. They no longer want a Mike Ditka in the organization. They don't want the coach. The whole idea of a super fan was built around Coach Ditka. And the Bears' identity for years was built around Coach Ditka, the coach. They don't want any more coaches that they can build a personality around. They don't want that anymore. So they hire the boring guys. I'm going to go down the list. Dave Wannstedt, boring. Dick Duran, boring. Lovie Smith, boring. Matt Nagy, but who was the guy before Matt? It was John Fox. Mark Trestman. Oh my God, the most boring man on the face of the earth. You see my trend here? Now, Matt Nagy had a little bit of swag. He had a little bit of swag. But he got ran out of town. And now, Matt Eberflus. They hire guys that George McCaskey loves. Why didn't they hire Bruce Arians? Because Bruce Arians ain't going to sit down and be cool with George McCaskey. He not going to be no little lame guy walking around and driving a Toyota Camry. It's not what he's going to do. He's going to tell you how the team needs to be ran, and he's going to fix the offense. George McCaskey loves this team, but he doesn't want a coach to upstage the team because the whole identity of the Bears is still built around Papa Bear Hallis. And Mike Ditka actually got bigger than Papa Bear Hallis. They don't want anybody to be that anymore. So that's why the Bears can never get over the hump. They don't want a coach that's going to scream at their quarterback and curse him out because Mike Ditka did that. Even though Jay Cutler deserved to be screamed at and cursed out. He deserved that and probably wish he had that. But who was going to be there to coach him up? Which leads us to right now. What I saw on that game last night was not just a poor offensive line, was not just some missed throws, was not just no running game at all. I saw the Bears literally get punched in the mouth and do nothing. You mean to tell me a team coached by Mike Ditka is going to let somebody come on their sidelines and punch somebody and live? Nah. You mean to tell me that Olin Kreutz is going to let somebody come on the sideline and push his quarterback late and then punch somebody? That's going to happen? No. The Bears have zero toughness. Let me tell you why. Because George McCaskey, one of the things they did, and y'all can research this, before they went on Hard Knocks, they told the players they couldn't curse. They had a no cursing policy. If you watch Hard Knocks, there was zero cursing. If you go to the other Hard Knocks, these players are F-bombing, no cursing. So this is a team where the players actually can't be themselves. They got to be docile. Football is a violent game. Football is a game where you actually got to be loud, obnoxious, curse. The only coach who I've ever seen do it without cursing and be great is Tony Dungy. And Tony Dungy called out Rex Ryan that time. And I'm like, hey, now that I think about it, it's like some people thought that was cool that Tony Dungy was like, oh, yeah, he does without cursing. Bruh, it's football. He said he moved on and did pretty well. It's football. It's football. So you let somebody come on your sideline and punch you in the face, punched him so hard, turned his whole helmet around, and he just stood there like, if I do something bad, I might get cut. And that shows you why this offensive line ain't pushing nobody back. Because there's zero toughness. Zero toughness. I'm not saying they don't care. I'm not saying they're not playing with enthusiasm and heart. I'm not saying they're not prepared. I'm not saying none of that. What I am saying is you don't have a coach that teaches you, that actually not teaches you, that wants you to fight. What that coach should have said last night is, I wish my players would have came back and punched him. We ready for a brawl anytime. We're going to fight. You're not going to come on our sideline. That should have been the first thing that came out of his mouth. I don't appreciate the dirtiness of which that should have been the first thing he addressed. But no. Oh, I think we did great. Our challenges, we do great with challenging. When the stats came out, you 2-7 all time in your challenges, bruh. You incompetent. You're a good defensive coordinator. You're not a head coach. You're not a head coach. Sorry, not sorry. Let's go on to Tua Tagovailoa. Because I don't like what I'm seeing the fake concern from people. Because to me, it's fake. Because everybody wants to have a take. Oh, if I was talking to Tua, I would tell him he should quit. Man, shut up. You gonna tell a man who's worked his whole life for this that he should quit? That's not what leaders do. If I had the opportunity to sit down with Tua, first thing I want to know is, hey, bro, how you feel? Tell me everything that's on your mind. What's on your mind? See, because real leaders help people come to their own conclusions and decisions. It's way too much projection. Oh, I will retire. Oh, he should retire. Oh, he should stop. Oh, he's got to think about. No, you got to think about what you got to do. Tua has to make his own decision. And hats off to his coach, Mike McDaniel. Hats off to Mike McDaniel for actually saying all the right things. He said, hey, man, that's the last thing he should be thinking about. Retirement is the last thing he should be thinking about. You know why he said that? Because everybody's saying retirement is the first thing he should think about. And the coach took all the attention off of that. And they're like, oh, well, you want to put him in harm's way. Nah, man, I actually care about the man. And y'all want to sit here and tell him to retire. So what's going to happen when he retires? What is he going to do with himself if he retires? You haven't thought that far ahead, have you? Do you realize the level of depression that a lot of players go through and withdraw the players go through when they're done playing? Have you seen the rate of suicide that a lot of players have? You realize the types of lives that they're not really able to lead because they have no plan for after when their plan is done. But yet you want him to retire because he got another concussion. That's what you think he should do. You're not his parents. You're not his spouse. You're not him. And in fact, it's not even his parents' decision. It's not his spouse's decision. Tua needs to make his own decision and what's best for him. It's not what's best for his team. It's not what's best for the Dolphins. It's not what's best for his brand. It's what's right and what's best for him. Where he can wake up in the morning and say, I gave it all I had, and I'm going to make the decision that's best for me. I'm tired of the projection, man. I'm tired of the projection. And speaking of the Dolphins, I wanted to add this in, and I may close with this. Tyreek Hill, who has been my favorite NFL player for quite some time, and who I've always thought was the best wide receiver in the league over the past 5 or 6 years. Last week made the news for the traffic stop and getting arrested before the game. And we saw the tape and all that. Just like the Tua situation, there's a lot of projection that went on. People like Charles Barkley, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharpe. And I noticed how the projection from young and old, the opinions of young and old, should never outweigh the person. I do not like projection. I do not. Well, what I do is, if I get pulled over, I roll my window down, and what I do is, and what he should have did was, and he had an attitude, and he had a projection. Another way of projection. Oh, these cops, they racist. Oh, and they don't want us to projection. You know how we got to the best conclusion of the matter? When Tyreek Hill finally spoke about it a couple days later. and was reflective and said what he would have done differently, perhaps. He didn't need Charles Barkley, who, mind you, said 30-some years ago, I'm not a role model. So why do we stick a microphone in Charles Barkley's face to have an opinion on something when he never agreed to be a role model? Why is his voice so important? And I like Charles Barkley. I think Charles Barkley is funny, but on a lot of different things, Charles Barkley is irrelevant. And this is what I want to say too, because to some of the older generation of men, black men, I want to have this even broader conversations. I'll be 45 this year, so I'm not old, I'm not young. I'm right there in the middle. I've always had an issue when older cats act like they teaching me something rather than understanding and being empathetic about wherever I am. You know why? Because honestly, my dad was always the guy that allowed me to go through my process. Yeah, my dad's an amazing teacher. My dad taught me well, but my dad actually kind of stayed out of the way on stuff unless I asked him what he thought, unless I wanted to really know what he would do. My dad kind of stayed out the way. My dad wasn't trying to always have a talk with me. Son, what you need to do is, son, what you blah, 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 blah. The older guys, I want you to know something. Younger guys, it falls on deaf ears when you say stuff to them. We want to learn from you, but we'd rather see how you move. We want to see how you are with your wife. Let the guy see, man, how, what's something you would say is special about your marriage? Not a secret, because I don't want to know your secrets. Tell me what's special. Because a lot of people ask me, well, what's your secret? I'm like, well, we don't have secrets. Now ask me what's special. Tell me what's special. Tell me how you're able to navigate. What do you think your greatest attribute is? See, a lot of the times, older guys think younger guys don't know no better. And that's the wrong attitude, because a lot of times the younger guys do know better and they are doing better. And instead of the older guys being like, man, I really love what you're doing, celebrate. Man, you killing it. It's some younger guys that I see. I went to work on some music last week with some guys that I taught a couple years ago. And these guys are like 27, 28. And I hit them up and I said, hey, yo, I want to come to your studio. I want to record some music. And they was honored that I asked them. And they were like, man, why did you ask us? I said, hey, number one, I respect how you work. I respect how you move. You in a different space in life, and I want to be around the kind of energy you got right now. I want it to be something where it's symbiotic. Because I was the teacher, but now I'm going to let you teach me something. That way, there's always a constant flow of conversation and community. In the Black community, older guys, when the younger guys get into something, they want to first point the finger and say what they did wrong. So in this Tyreek Hill situation, they looked at the video that was released and they instantly went to what he did wrong. Nah, bruh. The first thing you should be saying to Tyreek is, man, I'm glad you made it through it. Bro, we need you, Tyreek Hill. You a man of the people. The community loves you, bro. We love you, bro. We glad that you okay. Are you okay? But we need to make sure, bro, are you okay? See, the older cats don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear because they want to say, well, no, it's a man's duty to do this. We correct and we do whatever. You missing the boat. You gonna miss out on a whole generation of how to reach young people if you're not actually meeting them from where you at. You said, I learned from you what not to do. Like, I've watched you my whole, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. It's funny. You learn what not to do. Man, what? I know what you mean, though. I appreciate that. I've always been that guy, even in church, man. I've had people come to me and always come to me the wrong way. Always come to me the wrong way. When they thought that they was actually helping, they was never helping. And I'm like, I got a dad, and my dad would never come to me like that. Like, who the hell do you think you are coming to me like this, talking to me like that? Like you got the right and the authority to correct me. And I've always been the one to be like, man, you can't tell me, you can't correct me. But it's always the ones who always led with respect towards me that I gave respect to back. I remember this. I used to play flag football with our church. And our youth leader, his name was Jeff. Shout out to Jeff Gibbs. One of my greatest people who had impact on my life as a teenager. Like outside of my dad, of course. Jeff sacrificed so much for us just to play in a flag football league. Like he was paying big time money to get us in this league. We would practice and we was outmanned. We would lose a lot. We didn't know how to play as a team, but Jeff wanted us to have this experience. And I'm gonna tell you how much of a jerk I was this one time. Like I was a real jerk. I was a real butthole this one time. We lost the game, and everybody on the bus was, we was like downtrodden. And I fixed my mouth to say, yeah, if we had a different coach, we would be better. And I said it in this attitude, like I was dope. Like I was the guy. I said it like I was, like I'm Shador Sanders or something on the team. And I probably got beat for like 3 or 4 touchdowns that day. Like I was trash out there, right? And I fixed my mouth to say that to this grown man who was married with 2 kids that took time out of his Saturday to pour into youth. And I'm going to tell you what he said. He was driving. He gripped that steering wheel real tight. He turned to me. He said, Jason, shut up your face. I can see his face right now. And he turned and looked at me. And all I could do was go, oh. When we got to the church, I said, Jeff, I just want to apologize for that. I was wrong. He said, I accept your apology. Don't ever say anything like that to me again. And guess what I never did again? I never disrespected him again. You know why? That's why I lead by this lesson. And I'm going to leave you with this. Always lead with respect. Respect is not earned, it's given. See, a lot of men feel like somebody got to earn our respect. I truly feel like where we miss the boat a lot of times in culture is that men really feel like we get disrespected. Like or people gotta, like, somebody has to earn to be respected by you. And believe me, I get it. But I really would love for you to try just respect everybody from jump. Now, when they disrespect you, it's up. Now, you got to realize, you got to count the cost of what happens of something being up and they disrespect you. You got to be willing to jump in that lake. But for me, my general rule of thumb, is lead with respect. And that's what I want to do here on the rundown. No topic is off limits. So if you all want me to talk about something, shoot me an inbox, shoot me a DM, leave a comment. Feel free to share this. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're going to do this show. I don't have a schedule yet, but we're going to be doing it maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. We'll see. But I love to have conversations. I love for you guys to just give your feedback. I'm J Shep. This is the rundown, and we about to be out of here. Peace.